Rapp. How's it going?
Hey, P.
Hey.
Auli'i, it's been a while. We talked a couple years ago for Crush.
I remember.
Here
It's
we
good
are.
to see you. I remember your energy.
Well, we got to be excited. I mean, Mean Girls is going to be available in theaters Jan 12th. We're not excited. What's the whole point of all this? You know what I mean?
Thanks.
Jaquel, I'm just curious, kind of mindset-wise, you know, you're playing a character we've seen before, right? Like, we've seen this character in a movie before. We've seen this character on stage. What is that kind of mindset, kind of doing it justice, but also bringing your own spin? Like, is there a lot kind of going on when you're preparing for this role?
Absolutely. It's so much anxiety. Anxiety because you know how special it is. I'm a fan of this project first. I'm a fan of the '04 movie. I'm a fan of the musical. But also to get a call from Tina Fey and for her to say, I think you're my Damian. I don't think you can walk into this project and not want to give your best self. Also, I am very different from Daniel. I'm very different from Gray. This is Damian through the eyes of a Black man in 2024. Things have changed. Times have changed. High school isn't the same. In high school, for people like this Damian isn't the same as it would have been in 2004. So a lot goes into it, yes, but also it was such an honor to be able to step into a rich legacy like this one.
Absolutely. I think it'd be hard to name a better duo than Janis and Damian. Let's be honest.
Right.
Thanks, man.
It's kind of hard, to be honest with you. Both of you did an incredible job. I also love, jumping in, the narration. That was something I was like, oh, this is awesome. You know what I mean? So that's my question, Auli'i. When did you know, was that part of the plan that you were going to narrate the movie, or did you find out about that like a little later on after like the preparation?
So this is the beautiful thing about our film being an amalgamation of the '04 and the musical, is that in the musical, Janis and Damian are the narrators. They are bringing you along this story and this journey. And we start off our film with this, honestly, this gorgeous one take that explains that this is a cautionary tale. If you're going to climb up the ranks of, the social hierarchy of high school, and if you want to be a mean girl, there will be hell to pay.
Yeah, I know. Absolutely. I just can't, I'm talking about you right now and all the moments that kind of come to mind. I think the one that kind of comes to mind mainly with Damian Jaquel is just the hoodie and the sunglasses in the assembly, right? Like, she doesn't even go here. I think that's one of my favorites. Did you have a favorite kind of Damian moment in like the original film that you kind of were able to do in this film as well?
Yeah, I will say it looks different in this film, but the car ride to confront Cady at the party that she doesn't tell him about was very fun, and it was very exciting to do this way because it's so strange but makes so much sense that he would be on a Jazzy because he can't get an actual car. So that one was, and it was also fun to be like in a cul-de-sac at midnight driving around like a neighborhood at 100 miles per hour. Yeah.
It went pretty bad.
It was quick. It was a quick little ride.
It was so funny. I remember seeing the original and like, Janis and Damian are technically part of like the art kids, right? Like at the art table and everything. Yeah. And I was a musician growing up. So I like look at that and I'm like, the art kids and like the musicians were always like together. So I'm like, I feel like I was part of that a little bit. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Which is awesome. I mean, PD Beats literally was my stage name. I used to play drums and bands and everything. And I just kept it. Yeah, so I just kept it. It just stuck. And like people used to call me Beats and everything, which is awesome. Auli'i, I do want to also ask, because not the first time where you're doing a project. I mean, with Moana, there was kind of music and singing as well, with the acting as well. Is that kind of like, are you used to that kind of combination of balancing like your singing parts and your acting part? I've always been curious about that balance. Is it a good balance?
I would say that this film challenged me in ways that Moana did not. So Moana is, I love for its voice acting. I enjoy like the storytelling element of voice itself. But for Mean Girls, like there's choreography. You have to work with camera, making sure that you hit your mark right on. You have live vocal takes. You have matching lip sync. for one of my songs, for more than one of my songs, I'm running around, and like the stamina of doing it take after take after take was really difficult, but also really fun, right? Like these songs allow us deeper insight into the characters. What are they thinking? They're singing their feelings suddenly. So I like that that's a fresh take on this Mean Girls.
100%. Kind of to add to that a little bit with like the journey of Jaquel, I find it interesting because in a lot of ways, the journey of kind of reading the scripts and preparing and then going and filming it, right. I feel like in a lot of ways are two separate journeys from a storytelling acting perspective. But I'm wondering if that felt like that, or did it feel all like one kind of big journey for you specifically? Well, filming it, like preparing and then filming it.
For me specifically, I think it felt like one journey because as soon as I joined the project, I remember Arturo Perez and Samantha Jane, our director, saying we wanted to feel like theater camp. And we wanted to feel like y'all are having a chance to get familiar with one another while also rehearsing together, but also you live near each other. So hanging out and like experiencing life. And then Tina being like, I need y'all to really like find the fun with each other so that it'll translate. So for me, we started off in the recording studio. That was the first thing I did, was record some music. Then it was into some character work with the directors. Then that went into Kyle Hanagami giving us some some movement and his amazing dancers, working with us. And then it just felt like it was a bit by bit process that led up to what you see on the screen. But it worked well together because I think everybody knew the responsibility of carrying this legacy. So it can't be about ego and you and only you. This is a community. All these characters have to work together. So in turn, behind the scenes, we had to work together just the same.
I'm sure it's starting to hit you both that it's coming out pretty soon because you're doing all these interviews. I remember I had to retire this question in junkets. I used to be like, hey, is it hitting you that the movie's coming out next week? And everyone was literally like, we're talking to like 50 outlets today. So today it's starting to hit me. So I had to like retire that question, which is great. Last quick question I'll leave before I wrap up. There are a lot of takeaways in this. It's a fun reimagination. There's a lot of amazing music in this. What would you say would be like the biggest kind of takeaway from Mean Girls when people get to see it January 12th in theaters?
The biggest takeaway. I think that you can take away that high school is tough, that you will meet people that you don't always agree with, that you will go through the trials and tribulations of figuring out who you are, but who you are is enough. Don't cut off parts of yourself in order to fit in with whatever the plastics, however they're represented in your school, but also outside of that, in every area of your life, like ground yourself in who you are and find those friends that can surround you and uplift you and choose you.
Absolutely. And shout out to the art kids and the band geeks, right? We got to give a shout out.
Yeah.
January 12th, Mean Girls in theaters. So great chatting with you both. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.